fullback, but
Okay. I'll say fullback. All right, go. 3, 2, 1. All right, everybody. Happy Thursday evening. We got an NFL guest with us tonight. I've been working on this for a while. Me and Gabe have always been in contact through college. We both started our freshman years at the same time. Finally, I got him on here. I don't know what to call you, NFL guy or a streamer, or trying to be a streamer now in gaming. I'd still work his ass in Warzone and Call of Duty. But Gabe Nabers, fullback for the LA Chargers, with us this evening. Also, former Null. What's going on, man?
what's good? What's good? Thanks for having me, fellas.
Man, long time coming. I've been trying to. Just busy man out there in LA. Things change over there in the Hollywood trees and all that.
Time difference gets you.
It
Yeah.
does. You got to get used to it.
Yeah, for sure.
How's off season going? How are you doing? You know, like you said, you've been kind of going back and forth from East Coast to West Coast, but how's off season treating and everything with training going on?
This off season has definitely been a lot of fun. I mean, it's a lot different now. The springtime's a lot different for me now because I mean, I was talking to a bunch of guys that are going into their second year, and it's just weird, like not having anything to do, not having anything to worry about except for football all the time. And so, it gets during the week, and you're like, shoot, like you get your workouts and your film sessions done, and you have all this free time to hang out with your teammates and friends and everything. So this off season's been really fun for me. I mean, I'm just out in LA enjoying myself, trying not to get in any trouble, and just enjoy every moment.
Yeah, no, it's nice over there. It is nice. It's hard to not get in trouble over there. Too many good things to do. Too many parties. There's pretty people out there. It's tough. It's
Stay
tough.
away
I've
from
been
the
over there.
parties.
I love California.
Yep.
I was going to ask you though. A few weeks ago, obviously, the Chargers selected Asante Samuel Jr. in the second round. He's going to be joining you and Derwin over there with the LA. I mean, it's like the West Coast Knowles now, and also Trey McKitty is over there in LA on the other side there. What are we thinking about those additions? Obviously, Asante Samuel Jr. first with you with the Chargers.
I'm definitely excited about having Asante and Trey out here. I mean, they're both great competitors, great players, and that's what we're looking for. And they're even better people. So it's great to be able to reconnect with those guys. I know Derwin's excited to have another DB from FSU with him out there at practice and in the game. So I'm pretty fired up about having those guys.
Did you get in contact with Asante or any kind of thing whenever he was joining during that day? Did
I
you text
talked,
him or anything?
yeah, I talked to him for a little bit before the draft, and because I came across some draft predictions where he might fall, and I saw a couple accounts were saying that he might fall with us. So I definitely messaged him and told him uh, to come out to LA and just start helping us build this team up. And sure enough, we scooped him up when we had the chance, and so that was pretty awesome to see. And so now just being able to play with your former teammates is it's even more fun.
I want to kick it to your recruitment. So before you came to Florida State, coming from Lowndes, one of the best areas of high school football in the country. Florida State's always got to recruit that area. There's just ballers down in that area of Georgia. But you were kind of a little under recruited a little bit. Went to one time committed to both USF and Georgia Southern, right?
Oh yeah.
Yep. So what about Florida State? How did that come about? And was it something that Jimbo was talking about that made you, sign with Florida State? Was it the school you wanted to go to the whole time? How'd you end up in Tallahassee?
I always grew up as a Florida State fan. I had a family member that went to school there, and I kind of became a fan of them later, heading into high school. And so, definitely coming up in recruitment, I was under recruited, and it was hard to get the attention of some of these big time schools. When my first years, we were running like the wing T, like so it was very hard to get recruited by some of these schools. But I don't know, my last 2 years of high school, I was committed to Georgia Southern and USF, and was planning on going on to those schools. And then I was committed to Georgia Southern, I didn't really see myself ending up there though, and then ended up committing to USF. Thought that was going to be the fit, having family from Tampa, and so a couple weeks before signing day, FSU came in and told me that they thought I was a good player, and of course they had just won the Natty a couple years before, so that was definitely exciting. And from there, it was a no-brainer. I was definitely happy with my choice I made.
You know, you were eating a lot during your college days, Gabe. I mean, you had to playing fullback, but you got to tell me your favorite meal while in Tallahassee. It could be any place. There could be a few of them, but favorite place to eat while in Tallahassee. There's a lot of good spots though.
I spent so much time going to Kiku, the sushi place.
Did you really?
I spent so much time going to Kiku. And that place took care of me. They would know my order. They would know what I want. I want 2 Philly rolls, the Fire Dragon Maki roll all the time. That place, that was home for me. It was right across from where I lived, and so I would stay in there. They've got good sushi.
They weren't doing the whole Jameis Winston crab legs thing with you, were they? I'm just making sure.
No,
double checking, making sure, double checking.
No.
How's that sushi scene out in California? It's got to be pretty good.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot more. There's like, it's like art form out here. So
yeah.
I kind of enjoyed like I don't know. Kiku's just like in a different. It's on a lower level, but you can't beat it sometimes. If you're a college kid, want some sushi? That's where I was at.
Yeah.
You know, Nate, he brought up Lowndes County High School, and a lot of guys from there went to FSU, including Telvin Smith, Greg Reed, Tyler Hunter, and yourself. What was it like to kind of follow behind that group and be the next one at FSU?
It was definitely a cool experience for me. I always growing up in Lowndes County, like I wasn't really big onto the football scene until I got to high school. So those guys were a little bit older than me, and of course, they had gone on to FSU to do great things while I was still coming up in Lowndes County. And so once I became a senior in high school, I really realized like the footsteps that I was following and the pipeline that Lowndes County and FSU runs pretty deep now. And so there's definitely been some players that have left an impact on there. And I'm glad that I was able to go there and hopefully do Lowndes County proud.
So, you know, I don't know how much time you spend on social media, but one of the things that FSU fans always talk about is that environment. Willie's first game against Virginia Tech, you know, how loud it was right before kickoff. Was that the loudest you ever heard, Doak Campbell? Or was that the loudest?
I really think it was. I can't think of, I know my, I mean, there was a few times my freshman year that it was very, very loud, but in Doak Campbell, I think that was probably one of the loudest moments of my college football career.
That was crazy. Where'd you?
Simply just because of the anticipation, like building up to the new staff, and like everyone was like so excited for this new era, and then it was just insanity.
You were on that kickoff team, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it
was weird. It was nutty.
Do you even know what a swag surf is?
Who, me?
Is there anybody else named Nate on here?
Man, Logan, man, don't play yourself, man.
I'm just asking. I didn't know. I don't know.
I think we all know what it is now.
Yeah, we all know what it is now. You know, we don't want to talk about it ever again, but you know, that you know, no offense, Gabe, but that was like the high point of that game. You know,
for sure.
A disappointing season, you know, for sure. Yeah, but out of everywhere where you played, you know, what would you say is the loudest environment you played in?
Probably that one. I mean, I'm sure this year SoFi is going to be crazy just because if people had to wait a year to see the new stadium and see us play, and definitely with these new young players like Justin and everyone that we've got going, like I'm sure it's going to be insane. So
going back, just real quick, random thing here, but a lot of people, while Jimbo was there, at least a lot of people were thinking, you know, Justin Fields was close to coming to Tallahassee. I know a lot of people, FSU Twitter, thought it was happening, and then people were like, well, Jimbo laid off on it. But I know he had a lot of connections. Justin did a lot of friendships with guys on the team around your time too, Gabe. I mean, I know Deontay Sheffield was a close guy with him. I'm trying to think there's someone else too. But Justin was, I feel like, close to being a Knoll at some point.
I remember seeing him at a couple camps.
Yeah. He's talented. I'm surprised he dropped that far. But now you get him, Nate, in Chicago.
Perfect. I love it.
Chicago
finally did something right in the draft for the first time in quite a while, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Quite a while.
You ain't wrong. All right, so we're partnered with Chick-fil-A, Gabe, and we talked about this before we started recording, but you're going to have to give me your favorite meal at Chick-fil-A and also, last minute here, but your favorite sauce, too, your go-to sauce with it.
Sauce is easy. Chick-fil-A sauce is undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
But I just recently, this is like bad. This is like my cheap meal, like go-to. I've been grinding every day of the week, and then Saturday, I'll get Chick-fil-A. I do the spicy sandwich. Take a small macaroni and cheese, put it on top of the sandwich. Buffalo sauce onto the mac and cheese, close it, and then dip it in Chick-fil-A sauce.
I told you this man eats. I'm telling you, I wasn't lying. I wasn't lying.
That's the cheap meal right there.
I respect it.
Isn't that from like a TikTok thing or something? I feel like that's from TikTok or YouTube.
If you haven't tried it, go try it.
And Chick-fil-A sauce.
Chick-fil-A sauce all the way.
Sauce undefeated, man. I agree. That's the best sauce they have far and away.
I've got the squeeze bottle in my fridge.
Hey, that was big time. Them dropping those in like a Publix or any kind of like Walmart, because I got Polynesian.
Sure.
I got Polynesian in the fridge.
I've got both in my fridge.
Yeah,
that was an easy buy.
Easy purchase. Easy purchase. I think is this. Sorry, I'm FSU. By the way, just random breaking news: FSU's heading to the national championship in soccer.
Nice.
Random.
Good.
Sorry.
Nice. I got to ask about Derwin James. You know, he's one of my favorite players that Florida State's ever had, and just off the field, on the field, just true. Knoll. So what's it like playing with him and watching him work? I know, he's had some unfortunate injury luck the last few years, but he's a ball player. So what's it like just watching him work and getting a chance to play with him?
I mean, you're right. He definitely had some unfortunate stuff happen, but I mean, coming in last year as a rookie, he was definitely a guy that, having only been in the league for a year at that point, like so many on the team already respected and looked up to him just based on the way that he plays and carries himself. It really speaks to who he is as a person and a player. And I mean, during the season, right before the season started, he got hurt in camp. And so that was unfortunate. And just seeing the way that he's been this whole off season and during the season last year, he's just nonstop fighting to get back. And so it just speaks to who he is as a player. I mean, the fact that he's dealt with some adversity and still receives tremendous respect from multiple players around the league. And I mean, everyone knows his potential is through the roof. And I've definitely been working out with him this offseason too. And seeing him right now, he's going to be ready for anything come this fall. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I was wondering.
He was on a lot of preseason possible NFL Defensive Player of the Year list before he got hurt last year.
Yeah.
So I'm really hoping he bounces back this year because, his rookie year was tremendous, and that was just I think a tip of the iceberg what he can do in the league.
Yeah, he'll definitely show out this year.
Mm-hmm.
No questions about it.
And yeah, going back to Florida State, you were one of the guys who got the chance to play under Jimbo Fisher and the Willie Taggart era, obviously. So what would you say were the differences in their coaching styles? And also, what's your favorite Mad Jimbo story?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So I feel like the biggest difference between Jimbo and Coach Taggart, I feel like Jimbo's the kind of coach that he'll get after you the entire week, Monday through Friday. But then Saturday, like you'd come out and you'd whoop everyone, and then it'd be worth it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like there was definitely a level. There's a hidden level of respect that players carried themselves around him because of the intense level that he always carried with him about the game. He's an extreme competitor as a coach, and he hates losing. And so seeing a coach of playing under a coach of that caliber was definitely a blessing because it has turned me into a player that respects intense coaching. I mean, he would make sure that you were as prepared as you could be to beat anyone we played, and if you weren't prepared, it was on you. And I feel like that intensity was something that a lot of players liked and a lot of players didn't. And so I think that coming in for Coach Taggart, like the biggest thing with him was he's a players coach. Like he likes making the players feel like they are, welcome. He likes making the players feel like they have a friend in their coach. And I feel like while that is good, I know a lot of players liked Coach Taggart as a person and a player. I feel like sometimes that can kind of be like undershadowed, and you can kind of lose that intensity. That's something that I've always just felt like works best in football is like you feel like you have to carry your level of respect for your coach.
Mhm.
And I feel like with Coach Taggart, I feel like some guys might have lost track of that being so close to him as friends too. And so there was that. Both of them are great coaches in my opinion. I feel like they both have their own style. I feel like they both take care of the players, and I wish both of them nothing but the best and thank both of them for everything they did. I mean, if I wouldn't have played under Coach Taggart, I probably wouldn't have had to switch back to tight end and show that I can do both. And so I feel like no matter how the whole situation at FSU went down, it happened for a reason. And yeah, that's how I feel about that. Craziest Jimbo story?
I remember being at one of well, I've probably said it so many times, but being in when me and Trey would be up there in Jimbo's office, or no, I'd be with little Dossie, and then hearing Jimbo just cuss out Jameis for leaving the Moore Center too early because he knew fans and everybody were gonna be coming after him, and he got God, who was the SID? The guy that you probably know, Gabe. Who he'd always tell him. He'd always be with. Was it Kerwin? I don't know. Well, you weren't there at the time, but I don't know if Kerwin was still there. But it just absolutely just cussing out Jameis, and he's also cussed out Dalvin too while we were at practice.
There's been a bunch of stories like that. I mean, all the best players on the team got cussed out at some point. It was just part of the way he is, this coaching style. He wants the best players to their hardest days to be Monday through Friday. So Saturday they go out there and just take it out on whoever's across from them and just make people look silly.
So, when it comes to NFL, because I think every guy knows when they either get drafted or they go year out, kind of free agent route. When they kind of know that they've made it, they're going to make the team, or whether it's the practice squad or the main roster. Other than being told that you were going to make it, did you know beforehand? Was it like a string of practices? Was it some of preseason games? When did you know that, hey, I'm gonna make this team?
Well, shit, I thought I made it the day that cuts were happening
Mhm.
because I don't know if every other NFL team's like this, but like throughout camp, like I was in a very unique situation. Like I only had one person I was competing against, whereas like receivers or linebackers, they have like a bunch of guys they're bringing in trying to figure out who's going to be on. And so it was just me versus one other fullback. And luckily he was a great player, but I guess I was able to show a little bit more versatility. And we also had a couple tight ends that later in the season went down, and I was able to help in that room a little bit. And so I feel like that might have been something that carried me through, along with the fact that I was able to contribute on special teams all year. But during camp, like towards the end, we would have like scrimmages, and at the beginning of the scrimmages, like the ones would go out on the field, and we'd get in 21 with a fullback, and they'd be like, "All right, Gabe, you're out there." And so that was kind of a refreshing feeling. But then the day that cuts happened, offensive players got cut the first day. And so I'm like, one by one, I'm sitting on the balcony. This is a funny story. One by one, I'm sitting on the balcony watching all these players like leave the hotel. And so it was just like very sad. Like some players are coming back like with a small grin on their face, like they made the practice squad. And a couple guys came back, of course, like pretty upset. But I'm just sitting on the balcony, like waiting to hear something to happen. Well, I go out in the hallway, and the guy that I was competing against, unfortunately, he got cut, and so I told him like, it was a pleasure to meet you, man. Like this and that. I go back in my room, like I'm jumping, like happy day. I'm like, oh, I made the team.
Yeah.
Nobody calls my phone for the whole rest of the night. I'm like, okay, so like. One of my buddies, Nate, who is on the team also, he went up to the facility, and they're like, yeah, today's offensive cuts. They had called his phone telling him that they were going to release him, bring him back on practice squad. My phone didn't ring the entire day. It was 8:00 at night. I'm talking to my agent. I'm like, oh, I guess I made it. Like, he's like telling me congrats and all this. The next day, I started watching defensive players leaving the hotel. As soon as I left the hotel to go get breakfast, I took one step outside the hotel. My phone rings. I answer. He's like, hey, man, this is Blase with the Chargers. We need you to bring your – they have these, like, little tablets and stuff. They're like, we need you to bring your stuff in. And I'm like, you're joking. So I get up there, and I'm like, well – I'm like in the car on the way up there. I'm like, well, I was like, y'all cut the other fullback. Like, you're cutting me too. So who are y'all bringing in? And they're like, oh, yeah, I guess you'll have to talk to the people when you get there. Long story short, I get in the office with our GM, and he's just like, yeah, man, we had to make some moves, but we're going to assign you to the practice squad. And so for the first week leading up to the game against Cincy, I was on the P squad all week, and then right before the game, I got activated. And then after the first game, I played well enough. And then the next week at practice, they signed me to the 53. So,
Wow.
It was crazy.
Roller coaster ride.
I mean, it was crazy. I was sitting in the hotel thinking that I made it. And then right before you know it, world got flipped upside down. I was freaking out. I was like, man, this is crazy. But it's the NFL. And so, that was my introduction to the NFL.
Hey, that's a good warm-up for you. It can't get any harder in the terms of, like, Zoom sessions. I was going to ask you, too, because you went – it's crazy for you. You also had Hard Knocks. If I remember correctly, you had Hard Knocks going on during the same time during all of this.
And that was what was crazy, too, because right before they cut me, I was in the office with Tom Telesco, and he was like, yeah, turn these cameras off. Like, he was like – it was like a – He for some reason he was like, just turn the cameras off, because he didn't want whatever conversation we had to be recorded, I guess. So it was weird.
Yeah. How was COVID-19? It's your first year, but how was COVID-19 affecting your meetings and all that kind of stuff? How'd like a regular weekly schedule go with that kind of stuff?
During the season.
Yeah.
During the season, we actually were able to meet in person. We had enough room to space out the rooms, space out the seats in the room, because there's not that many guys meeting in each room. There's only a couple players per position. So our rooms were big enough with the trackers that we had to wear to be in compliance. But we were in person for the majority of the season, and then like towards the end of the season, we had the league just changed the rules on us, and we ended up having to be like all virtual. So it kind of sucks, because you would have to get up in the morning, go lift at the facility, and then drive all the way home because they didn't want people in the facility for meetings. You'd have to drive all the way home for meetings, meet at your house for like 2 hours on Zoom, and then drive back to the facility for practice, and then drive home and do the meetings after practice too. So it was definitely wild, but it kind of made me appreciate being in person. And sometimes meeting in person can be intense in the league, but it definitely made me appreciate being in person because it was even worse over Zoom.
True. We'll get into some more NFL stuff too, but I wanted to ask real quick, going into a college locker room and an NFL locker room, what's the biggest difference that you have coming out of it after like your first week? What was the biggest thing?
Well, for us, because COVID, we had to be so spaced out. We were like in like all the rookies, like Justin and everybody, we were all like in the old weight room in these like wooden lockers. Like they put all the rookies in these like wooden lockers. And so some of the guys that we just signed, like I just got a locker in like the vet locker room this off season. And so for us, like going into camp, like we're in these like everyone. I'm talking about first round pick guys, second round pick guys. Like we're all in these like little wooden lockers. And so I'm like, man, this is crazy. And I mean, now even being in the vet locker room is just smaller. There's a lot less guys on the team. So it's not as big and spacious as a college locker room. It's a lot more like, I mean, it's grown men. So it's like, they're a little bit bigger, but it's definitely a lot smaller in terms of like size and like decor. Our locker room actually is getting renovated right now. So, but I would just say it was a lot smaller than I expected it to be.
True. I haven't really been able to ask this question at all to anybody yet, but I'm excited for what's the most, and don't play games with me either, Gabe. Don't play games, but what's the most expensive thing? You got to treat yourself. You made it. You got to treat yourself a little bit. What's the most expensive thing that you've bought so far since getting paid NFL? It could be anything. It's probably your gaming setup.
No, I haven't like paid for that yet, but that's going to be pretty expensive.
There's got to be
I would say like my most like ill-advised purchase. I'll do this. I'll do my most ill-advised purchase because I obviously paid for like my car and stuff, and like that's a car, so
yeah.
But my most ill-advised purchase was I bought a sweater that I wore to the Raiders game, or not the Raiders game. I don't remember which game it was. I bought a sweater that was made by Balenciaga, and that sweater was like $1,000 just for the one sweater. So that was pretty stupid.
Nate, I know you ain't even getting close to that one to pay for. You won't even buy Austin shoes for $50.
No, that's not true. I would pay good money for good Jordans, but not $1,000 for a sweater. Hell no.
Nah. That's the worst part. Like I wore the sweater.
Now, even if I had the money, hell no.
And I'm like, what did I just do?
Did you even get it? Did you get any photos of it? Did the photographer give you any good photos for the IG? Was it worth it?
Oh yeah, I actually got put on Blitz Fits for that sweater.
Okay.
So it was worth it.
Yeah.
So it was worth it. I got a little clout. It was funny because me and my teammate, one of my boys, Braden Fajoko, he played at LSU. He got activated that week to play in the game, and like that was kind of the reason. Like he got activated, so he was like, "Oh, I never thought this day was gonna come." Like, so we kind of went to the mall and wilded out, like did it big and then he ended up playing the rest of the season. So it was crazy. It was great. But that was why we bought those.
Well, when you're over there in LA, the fashion's the biggest thing. You got to stay with it. It's a lot different over here, like in the Southeast compared to the West Coast. Definitely LA area fashion's the biggest deal.
Yeah, it's weird. There's so many like fashion. There's like Fashion Island. There's South Coast Plaza. Like South Coast Plaza is like 2 seconds from the facility, and so like they're all over the place. There's so many shopping centers.
Mm-hmm.
I got two questions. Sticking with the NFL, who's the best player that you've seen so far? in your 1 year in the league, whether it's on the Chargers or that you played against?
The best player overall. I mean, I feel like everyone would say Tom Brady, but I watched this man play in person, and he absolutely shredded us. I mean, Justin played great against him in the Bucks, and Tom Brady still shredded us. Like, Tom Brady is just like, it's like crazy watching him in person because he's just 3 steps ahead of everyone. So that was crazy to watch. It was like I was watching. It was like I was watching the game, but I was like in the game. It was weird. Finally getting to see him play in person was crazy. And so, because that was my first time ever seeing Tom Brady, and the first time I ever saw him was in person when I was playing him. And so it was weird.
That's got to be a crazy experience, man.
Yeah, there was a couple experiences like that when I was my first year, like seeing all these people that you're used to seeing on like Madden and on TV and like all this stuff, and then you're like within a few feet from them. It's like weird.
What about Mahomes?
Yeah, that same caliber. He was just really like, Tom Brady was really good at like picking our defense apart in terms of the pass game. Pat Mahomes, like, we would shut the pass down, and then he would just run the ball for like 7 or 8 yards, and it's just like, what are we doing? And then you would have to start respecting his running ability, and then he'd throw one over top. He threw one over top against us to Hill. And so both are different players, but they're both very good players. And I mean, that kind of speaks to why they're both in the Super Bowl this year. But
yeah,
and the Steelers weren't on your schedule, so I you don't have to worry about saying that you didn't see Big Ben Roethlisberger. So,
well, because
I understand you not having to talk about him because you didn't play him, but just putting that out just there for me.
Nah, come on, bro. So my second question is, being, from Georgia, you're out on the West Coast now. So, has it been hard staying in contact with your family? Especially going with COVID and everything. How's that been going?
And
Go ahead.
I was just saying you're really close with your mom. I know that. I've known that since me and you became friends early on in college. But how's that going?
Yeah, I was going to ask, did she get a chance to watch you play, or how's that unfolded so far?
So she did get to watch me play. She came to, when we played Miami, she came to that game. And so that was awesome for her to get to see me. I know she was pretty emotional for that, to get to see me play in the NFL game. But I mean, I've always been close to my mom. She kind of understands it now. Like, college football is not the only thing you have. You have to focus on school and stuff too. So, but like NFL, it's like all you have. Like, this is the only thing that you should be focusing on. And so that definitely was a different experience for her. I know there were a couple times where she would check in on me and be like, "Are you okay? What are you doing? I haven't heard from you." It's just like, "Yes, ma'am." Like, I'm just keeping my head down, trying to just stay focused on this. And so that was probably the biggest adjustment to make, because there would be so many times I wouldn't get home until midnight. And it's just like, well, she's on the East Coast, so it's already 3 a.m. there. So it's like, I can't talk to her. So it's like, that was definitely the biggest difference. And I think that was something that definitely took some time to get used to. And now that I'm going into my second year here, it's like, it's definitely a lot easier than it was whenever we first got here. The time change is what really got us.
It's a whole 180, and COVID-19 too, restricting a lot of possibilities for her to come visit you and watch games too. It was tough. Yeah. It's tough for a lot of young players, and even veterans that some of them didn't even have chances to have their family members come watch them play. So I'm excited for the second year and COVID-19 calming down and things smoothing out, because it really ruined a lot of opportunities for these kind of experiences. So I'm glad that she was able to make it down to Miami, though. That had to been that had to been awesome seeing her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So Gabe, you've scored touchdowns in high school, in college, and then you scored your first NFL touchdown against Denver during your rookie season. So what was that like?
It was insane, because I've told this story before, but like that play I wasn't supposed to score on. And so like you have that moment when you have that moment like in like college and high school and like the ball's coming to you. So like you're like, oh, I know I'm about to score. Like when we played the Raiders and I scored, like I knew the ball was coming to me. So I was like a lot more anxious. That play, like I was only supposed to set a pick for the back. Like I was only supposed to be going up towards the back or setting a pick, and then Herb was supposed to throw it out in the flat or like check down to the tight end or run it in. Well, I set the pick for the back. I went to go set the pick for the back. They were in man, and the backer flew out of the box before I even got up to the second, before I could even clear the line. And I kind of just like got lost in there, floated around, and then like everyone just stopped. Like everyone just stopped for some reason. And I'm like, oh, like if I just keep moving this way. And so once I saw the ball coming, I was like, oh, wow, okay. So that it was definitely different because like by the time it happened, I was like, wow, I just scored. But it was definitely a lot different. Like I was more nervous for the second one I scored because I knew like the play was designed to go to me, whereas like the first one was just kind of like lucky. And so it happened, and it was a surreal feeling and something that I always remember. And I mean, just being able to score a touchdown, having it been thrown by one of my new best friends that I've made out here it was definitely crazy.
I want to ask, we talk about like the speed of the game. You go from high school to college, it jumps a ton, and then you go to the NFL. Were you surprised by how fast the game goes, or speak on that? Because a lot of people don't realize how fast it is in the NFL. So I guess,
I mean,
you see it or just experience it.
I feel like they say like every rookie has like that aha moment or like that oh shit moment, like I'm in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Luckily mine happened during camp, and I mean I was lined up across from Joey Bosa, and I'm supposed to cut him off from the backside. Meanwhile, this man is like the best defensive player in the NFL, and I tried to cut him off backside. I'm like looking over at Brian Balaga. I'm like, I'm sorry because I couldn't get through. And he's like, all right, dude, calm down. He's like, Joey's pretty good at football. Like, you got to relax. And so definitely that. And then moving in, like game speed versus practice speed in the NFL is two different things. Like sometimes like in the games, like they really like tell you in college, like in the NFL, like you have to like be mentally ahead of everyone because physically you don't have time. Like when you're trying to move around physically, you don't have time to be like mentally trying to think about what you have to do. And that's something that really set on quick in my career. Like I realized like I've had to watch more film than I ever had before, and I had to know who I was going against. Like I would have to like take notes on who I was playing because like everybody has their own like style. Everybody has their own thing. Like this isn't like college where like people are doing, like you're not going to tell Joey Bosa, like as a coach, how he's supposed to pass rush every play. And that's what makes every player you're playing unique. And so it's not like you're playing a team that like every time they're going to be spilling or like wrong shouldering or like their backers are going to be coming straight downhill. Like you just have to, it was very different because like everybody plays different and everyone plays to their strengths. And so a lot of the speed up happens because you're playing different people every week and you're playing the best of the best. And that's something that took a lot, like that's something that quickly set in and something that I quickly had to figure out for myself.
I was going to ask you, Gabe, I saw it a lot during COVID-19, and I don't know if you roomed with them or not, but Justin Herbert, you have a really close relationship with him. I always see y'all out there golfing. I didn't know you were a big golfer, first of all. I didn't know. Is that something that changed? Is that something that changed when you went to West Coast? Is that how it goes?
No, I played a little bit my last year at FSU. I bought a set of clubs my last year at FSU, and I went here and there, but I didn't really start like hitting the links until I got out here because it's hard not to. Like there's some crazy courses out here.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I've been keeping up with the IG. It looks gorgeous out there. But talk to me about your relationship with Herbert. He's obviously had a huge first season as a rookie, and the future is bright there for you guys on offense with him. But tell us about your relationship with him and how y'all became so close.
Honestly, him, and Nate Gillum, the three of us became super close simply because during camp, the rookies had to stay in the hotel and we had to stay there it wasn't like a regular camp where like you could leave and go get food or you could leave and like go to the beach or like leave and go to the movies. Like there was nothing for us to do. So like we would be cooped up in this hotel and like we spent so much time together in the hotel that it kind of like once we were able to like break out from being at the hotel, like we were like we didn't know where to go. Like we were like, oh shoot. And Justin had already had a spot. And so he kind of like took me and Nate in. He was like, yeah, you guys can come live with me. We kind of had like this like mini like brotherhood thing going on. And then just transitioned to the season. And so I guess that's kind of like word got out that we were all like we were all living together and spending time together. And so I guess some of the content creators at the Chargers kind of found out about that and then started making content about me and him being roommates and teammates. And it was funny to see, but yeah, definitely was exciting getting to watch him play the way he did. And then, I mean, some of the things that me and him and Nate have been able to go do. I mean, I went to the Masters with Justin, and so like just getting to do some crazy stuff off the field with him it's been exciting.
Mm-hmm. Must be nice over there. I need to go. Can't wait to get over there on the West Coast.
Yeah.
One last thing about the NFL, you have a new coach. You know, the Chargers let go Anthony Lynn this past season, and now you have Brandon Stanley. Have you had a chance to really speak with him? I'm sure y'all have been in meetings and whatnot, but what do you think of him so far?
I think he's a great coach. I think that he's young, which kind of makes him a little bit more like eager to get to work with us, which has been really cool and really exciting. I know some of the older head coaches in the league are like, they let all the younger staff members handle the player interactions and stuff like that. And so having him being a young guy who just recently left the Rams, I know that it's been really exciting for him to get this opportunity. And so it shows in the way that he carries himself in these meetings we've been having. And he's just super energetic, super smart, super intense guy that, you know, he shows up in all the meetings, special teams, everything, and he wants to add his take on everything and he wants to add his flair onto everything. And I think it's been really good for us. It's been really good to see. I know the defensive, it's weird because, you know, I've always been used to having a head coach that's an offensive guy. And so having a head coach that's a defensive guy has been pretty cool to see those defensive guys light up and be excited to like play defense now. Cause I mean, the stuff that they're getting ready to pull out is going to be crazy to see our defense transform. Cause last year was obviously frustrating to see, like, sometimes we give up like third down plays and we've got some of the best defensive backs, linebackers, and interior guys in the league. And so I know that just already within a few weeks of him coming in and implementing the stuff that he's going to do on our defense, seeing these guys on defense just being fired up about it is definitely a true test to who our new head coach is as a person, a coach, and I'm excited to see where we go with him.
And real quick before we end it off, Gabe, you know, Mike Norvell, I mean, that's the future right now at FSU. I don't know if you've been given any chance of, you know, keeping in touch with anybody at FSU still that is on the team or just listening in and stuff. But do you have any kind of thoughts on Mike Norvell and that staff and what they're trying to do? Obviously, last year, I think COVID-19 and not having a spring really hindered that staff coming in as a first staff coming in. It's that kind of situation. It's hard as it is, but when COVID-19 and pandemic is going on, it's really struggle bus in order to find success. But tell me, you know, anything about Mike Norvell in the season ahead for them. Your thoughts?
I think that Coach Norvell is a great coach, and I think that he's kind of in the same shape as like Coach Staley. He's a younger coach, and he's got players under him that are going to learn to respect him and learn to respect the tradition. Obviously, FSU has a long tradition of being successful, and I think that's been one of the hardest things for fans to understand is like when you get a new coach, it takes time to find success because the tradition doesn't change, but the system to getting the results might have to because of the coach and the style of offense, defense, things you run. And so I think that it shows I think that he's going to be a great coach for FSU in the future. I think it shows in the recruits that we've been able to sign recently. I saw that we've got some good talent coming in soon. And so I think that's pretty exciting. But yeah, I mean, I want more than anything to watch FSU rise to the top again. And so I'm excited to see what Coach Norvell and those coaches do at FSU. And I wish them nothing but the best.
I got to ask, because you mentioned recruiting, maybe one of the best to come out of Georgia before it's all said and done. Travis Hunter. Have you watched any of him? Talking about,
that's what was crazy because I was there his first year, and I don't know what the situation was, but he didn't play as much as he did last year. And I saw some of the clips from last year. I mean, he's a beast. So
yeah, he's got a bright future ahead of him. Nate just loves. I mean, obviously he's in recruiting, but he's a cat that's gonna come play and he's gonna be a big time difference maker. He's probably arguably best player coming in out of his class.
It's not arguably. He's the best player in the last 3 classes, maybe the last 4. and when you talk about like pure football player, he's the best since Derwin that's come in to Florida State. So the kid is special.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm excited to see him.
From Georgia.
From Georgia, baby.
Georgia. Got some good ballers out of Georgia.
Yep. Try to think if there's anything more. I thought I had something on the last little bit there, but I guess I don't. I guess I forgot. You got anything, Dustin?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Well, Gabe, I definitely appreciate you coming on here and everything. It went smoothly. Maybe down the line, maybe next year we'll get you on after a game or something like that. That would be fun to recap a game or something. But definitely appreciate you hopping on, man, for almost an hour with us.
For sure.
Stay healthy. Be good. We'll definitely be watching. I think the Chargers. I was going to say that's what it was. I think it just was released that Sante signed $7 million for the next 4 years with the Chargers.
Exciting.
So he'll be stuck there
and
terrible weather and terrible area. I mean, it just sucks over there.
Everything's so bad here.
All right,
it's exciting.
Yeah, no, I think the future is bright. There's a lot of FSU fans that are Chargers fans. I know a few, and I've been watching them since this last season. I think Herbert's y'all got a bright future, definitely with that offense too. And excited to get you. We need some more touchdowns. I had you on. I put you on my Snapchat and IG, and everybody. It was cool to see that kind of thing. Is being someone that hung out with, and we've always talked football and ball, and to see you perform like that, it's always exciting, and always rooting for you over here in Tallahassee.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. All right, well, I'll let you. You got to go cook something. You've been cooking a lot lately, so go make some brisket. Go make some brisket or something.
I got you.
All right, man. Be good.
Thanks, Gabe.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Sure.
Appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate you.
Be good. That was pretty good. Pretty good interview there.
Mm-hmm.
Almost an hour.
Yeah, you weren't wrong. You said he would have some good quotes coming in.
Yeah, some good.
Get a lot to talk about.
A lot, all over the place. We went from top to bottom there, all through it all. But we still got a lot to go through here for the rest of this episode. I think I'll do. No, I'm not going to do an intro. We're just going to let it go. The people on the podcast listening around, that's just how it's going to be. I'm just going to let them start off with the Gabe Nabers interview, and then we'll run into the quick hitters of the week. We'll go through football and basketball. Nothing too crazy here. But
less work for you, right?
Yeah, less work for me. Yeah, exactly. If I don't have to cut much, then we'll just keep on running with it. Lowe said that he's training, so he can't join us. I guess, tonight. I don't know what he's training for.
He's doing the,
He's training kids. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, his new venture.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I know that the CFL just said that I saw Erman Lane tweet that they have a training camp date now. And 2 weeks ago, Los was, he talked with his agent and everybody, and they were saying that they weren't expecting anytime soon to have a camp date. So the CFL is all over the place.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, it's Canada. Who knows what's going on over there?
Well, let's get into it here. Florida State lands offensive lineman Notre Dame transfer Dylan Gibbons, veteran guy. He's going to have 1 year left.
Two.
Who?
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah, he has 2.
Is it 2 years?
Yeah, it's
okay.
2 years.
2 years left on him. We bring in a veteran guy. He played in the college football playoff this past season, and also in the ACC championship. He's got a lot of experience. Also bringing that into the locker room too. Mike Norvell likes doing this. What are y'all's thoughts on Dylan Gibbons that adds on to some offensive line depth?
For me, I know some fans are mentioning about maybe he didn't play a lot, but Notre Dame's had maybe arguably the best offensive line in the past 2 to 3 years in college football. And that's simply proven by the fact that how many guys have gotten drafted off that roster. He played against Syracuse, I believe, and played really well that game.
Mm-hmm.
For Florida State, they are still looking to maybe shore up a tackle spot. And, he's also a guy that can maybe play inside for you. So he has that position versatility. But, for me, it brings depth, competition, and it raises the floor. And it also pushes guys that maybe we're going to have to play, that maybe shouldn't be playing, pushes them further down the depth chart a little bit. And for me, I think it's a guy that's going to come in and compete for a starting spot.
Yeah, like you said, I totally expect him to come in and compete for a starting spot. And, I mean, you got to think, this was a guy who was at Notre Dame for 4 years, spent a lot of time in one of the best strength and conditioning programs in the entire country. And like you said, Nate, he was a member of a very talented offensive line that I believe 3 guys off that offensive line from this past season were drafted before the end of the 3rd round. And he had a start last year. He's played in, I think it's close to 30 career games. So, I mean, he's got experience. You also mentioned, he's moved all over the offensive line. So this is a guy that Florida State can play at different spots. I know he's competing for a left guard spot in the spring, but he's also played at center. He's played at tackle, like Nate noted. And, I'd be interested to see if maybe Florida State brings him in and tries him out at center, because I know they've been wanting to move Maurice Smith out of that spot for a little bit. And, you can kick him over to guard, put him at center. And, I think that helps the offensive line out a good bit. And, we'll see if another transfer comes in down the line as well.
Right. I think that, bringing this guy in, I think it's good enough to show up an offensive line that gets you another W.
Yeah, no, just real quick for me, you're just bringing in more depth that's needed. I mean, everybody is complaining 24/7 on Twitter about, what's going on with the trenches. You're getting playmakers. Mike Norvell and Dillingham, they're always getting these playmakers and all this kind of DBs, but they complain about getting people in the trenches, and then they complain that they get an offensive lineman from a team that's been in the college football playoff how many times now in the last 4 years. Like, it kind of gets ridiculous. You're getting a guy that has veteran experience in the locker room, and then I think it's going to be interesting this fall camp to watch where Coach Atkins is going to put a few guys, because where does Gibbons go? You're just mentioning Dustin Maurice Smith, who had a surprising year last year in front of all of us. Coach Atkins is going to have a tool around, and Devontae Love-Taylor is another guy that you can kind of put in different places too. So this offensive line has, I think, a lot of work to do on who fits where, and he most certainly is going to come in and compete. So,
and a little cherry on top is they beat out Florida for him. So
you'd love to see
the guy
it.
was also considering Florida. So they would bitch and moan if he would have chose Florida over Florida State. But it's a guy who has, the experience, comes from a really good. He's going to be really well coached. Coming in, he's going to play for another really good coach in Atkins, and it makes a unit, I think, that much stronger. So, carry over to the next question. I guess I'll segue.
Mm-hmm.
If they can land that, that one more guy that everyone's been talking about. I think you're looking at an offensive line that turns into maybe okay into a good or into above average. I'm talking about the other transfer.
Which one? There's a lot of them.
I
know which one. You got to get in the
Discord.
Discord.
If you go in the Discord,
you got to get in the Discord.
Yeah, if you go in the Discord, you know what we're talking about. But if that does come to fruition, and it looks like it's possible, you're looking at an offensive line that should be okay, should be pretty good, and then what does that do for the offense? So that could be an exciting get for Florida State.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That I really believe in Coach
one of the best offensive linemen in the country last year. Could be possibly coming to Florida State.
Keep an eye on it. Got to get in the Discord. You're going to have a boring offseason. I'm going to say it every time on here. Real quick, noting on a guy that's just arrived at Tallahassee, I wasn't worried about him not arriving. It's just FSU fans freaking out for no reason, and it's the same with Rod Award, offensive lineman, who's still got school going on. Anyways.
It's a reason because another podcast said that they doubted he was going to make it into Florida State.
Yeah, well, I didn't hear anything on that. But Andrew Parchment, Kansas wide receiver, is officially signed, and he's in Tallahassee. He had an interview today. And, is this wide receiver one heading into the season? Because I think a lot of people are expecting that to be the case, but it seems like wide receiver one has arrived in Tallahassee, Andrew Parchment.
Absolutely. He is wide receiver one. I don't think that's any question, and that's not a knock on the current receivers that are on the roster. I think that he's far and away wide receiver one coming in. Would have loved to see him be at Florida State for spring. Nonetheless, he is wide receiver one, and I think that wide receiver 2 is coming also here pretty soon.
Can't wait to watch him work. I know last podcast, Logan, you noted that he was over there working out with Dalvin Cook, and that's got to be a pretty good experience for him.
Yep.
And I'm just excited to see what he can do at Florida State. He had some good tape coming out of Kansas, and I think him and Milton and the rest of that offense, considering if they get another grad transfer offensive lineman, I mean, it's all just slowly starting to come together.
I'm kind of happy he hinted at it on his interview about how the change of quarterbacks at Kansas hurt his production. I'm kind of happy he addressed that because some people were a little disappointed in his last year at Kansas, but they had a massive change at that quarterback position. Yeah. So,
it's Kansas.
It's Kansas. That no knock, but I think he's been all over the place, just busting his hump, working out, staying in shape. So, because a guy with big game experience, big play experience, and, guys who works his tail off. So,
yeah. I think I've watched more YouTube videos on frogs having sex in a Kansas football game. So that goes to show how many Kansas games I've seen. Fun fact.
How many of those frog videos have you seen?
7 in my lifetime, and I've maybe seen 1 Kansas game.
Look at the lighting in his room. That should tell you everything about what he looks at YouTube.
The aquarium's over here on all the tables right here.
Yeah.
You just can't see it. It's hidden very well.
Yeah.
Let's go into some offensive linemen here. Just recently committed to Florida State. Bright future here. 2022 IMG offensive lineman Alu Ba has signed or is committed to Florida State. Mike Norvell and Coach Atkins. He has a really impressive offer list here to start off. Still got some work to do. Still raw, and I'm sure Nate will talk about it in a little bit, but offers from Michigan State, this team called Alabama, Arkansas. He's rated as a 3-star right now per 247 Sports. 6'6", 325, big boy out of Bradenton, Florida, near you over there in IMG. Nate, you're trying to get over there too and get with some of these guys.
Yeah.
But speak on this cat coming in.
Definitely, in my opinion, I'm not gonna say like your typical high school offensive lineman because his size and all that stuff. But when I say typical, someone that has a lot of room to grow when it comes to technique. He plays a little high, but he's got really good bend. He's really physical, but you can tell that he needs to be coached more. But when you are recruiting that position, you have to look at the traits. And this guy's athletic for his size. He's flexible. He has a nasty streak. He has really good feet, but he's a large human being, and um, I know he in Ohio State was kind of a big part of his recruitment for a while, but Florida State stayed on it and was able to land him. And you're looking at a guy who's definitely going to come in as a tackle, in my opinion, and probably a right tackle. When you look at Rod Orr coming in last class, and he's probably the guy for left tackle in the future. This guy would be a right tackle, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, maybe a little underranked because of his need to get better technically, but the offers tell you the other story. A lot of these colleges like this kid, so don't really care what the recruiting services say. But all in all, it's a good get. I was surprised a little bit more surprised with the timing of it. Maybe not necessarily with FSU landing him. I talked to him a few times a couple months ago. And I just never followed up because I thought it was going a different direction. But I know that they were really working that kid for quite a while. So, they now have a really good relationship and have a good foot in the door. IMG.
Yeah. And I mean, you mentioned his mean streak and getting a chance to look at him on film. This guy loves to hit people. I mean, pretty much every single one of his highlights is him putting someone on their back. And
Yes.
there were a couple plays where you could see the whistle had already been blown and he's still just putting a guy into the dirt. And the guy's like, come on, man. I mean, that's the kind of offensive lineman you want. You want someone that's going to piss other people off and get them out of their game. And I mean, just really be extremely physical. And, first offensive lineman for Florida State in this 2020-22 class. I think it comes at a great time. They're sitting in good position with other targets like Daughtry Richardson, Kayshawn Sapp, other guys as well. Names are escaping me right now. The guy from Brunswick, Kania Charlton, Elijah Pritchett. So, I mean, there's a bunch of guys on the board, and I think to go ahead and get him in the fold, it allows Florida State to be a little selective because, they're going to be going after a bunch of offensive linemen in this cycle.
Things, when you look at it right now, and this is recruiting, so things could always change. But this offensive line class, has the potential right now to be very, very, very good for Florida State, and just builds on what they had last year. So you got to like the direction they're going. Atkins is can't say good enough about what he's done so far at that position. Really like what they're doing with the guys that they are recruiting. Some guys that can be inside or outside. Yeah, I mean, I know one name we didn't say, or you didn't say, is Julian Armella, but
we'll see. I didn't say that name for a reason.
Yeah, we'll see how that unfolds. There's some people who think that it's over for Florida State, and there's some people who think that if they have a good season, that things will fall back in line. So that's going to be interesting to watch.
Stay tuned to the Discord.
Yep.
Some news here this week. Florida State is planning for a 100% capacity in Doak Campbell Stadium this upcoming season. I love it. As long as if things are all safe and good to go, I'm all for it. I mean, it seems like Florida State is also going to plan on having a big-time recruiting, official visitors there and everything like that, have that whole thing going. Gigantic then. I mean, you got to think if Florida State is able to pull out a dub there against Notre Dame, and Dylan Gibbons is able to get his revenge there against the Irish, then that
Oh,
would
yeah,
be
we didn't
huge.
even bring that up.
Yeah, it's a storyline going into it. There's a lot of storylines, but going
Been
into
floating
that one,
around on the message boards. A lot of Notre Dame fans are kind of salty that he transferred to Florida State after spring ball, and he can provide all this inside knowledge of the Notre Dame offense before the game. I don't know. They're starting to freak out. Well, they'll have an
whatever.
excuse. They're getting the excuses ready for if Florida State wins.
They're leprechauns. Who gives a damn? But yeah, are you excited, Nate? You're going to try to make it? Nate doesn't like hanging out with us. He ditches us every time. We were supposed to hang out 2 times, like in the last month, and ditched us. What's wrong with your hands? Your hands look like they've been like filled up like a balloon.
Big hands, man.
No, those are a problem. You got to get that checked out. Looks like you're getting that constrained, like they're being constrained right now, and they're going to pop anytime.
Yeah, that's what it meant. You know, you got little boy hands with your Karen legs. But no, I'm planning on coming to that. I want to come to Notre Dame for sure, Miami for sure. I want to come to 3.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You
So that means 1 then.
You want to put money on it?
All 3?
All 3.
How much money?
You name it. $100 per game.
Oh my God, no. That's stupid.
I mean, come on.
That's stupid.
You claim to know.
Then you'll show up just for the money.
That pays for gas, man.
Yeah, that pays for everything. You're good to go.
I'm definitely, especially, I mean, that Notre Dame game, recruiting-wise, is going to be ridiculous. So,
Woo. Oh, yeah.
Got to be there.
Austin's got to be there to do some recruiting interviews. That's
I know.
sure.
We need Austin to put in his I'm sure they'll have basketball recruits there for that too, though. You know.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, of course.
I need Austin to do at least 10 football interviews. You know.
Yeah, we got to do a little tailgate situation too, gentlemen.
Yeah, we should do a
show you how to drink. I'm gonna show you how to drink.
Shit. Well, whatever college drinking game you want to play, I'll still educate you on that.
You don't want to.
Whether flip cup, lob and shoot,
beer pong,
beer pong, whatever it is, man.
All right.
Whatever you want to do, man.
I'm fine with that. Let's do it then.
Let's do it. None of that crap you have in the back wall, though.
Natty, I don't drink
none of that.
I will say I don't drink that anymore, but I'll bring it if I have to. I know that's too tough for you to drink, but
no,
I know it's tough.
No,
Logan only drinks seltzer now.
Yeah, no Zima, none of that crap.
Yeah, Dustin get Dustin to finish his first beer. It was really sad.
We're gonna drink bourbon, okay?
Just
yeah.
Ooh, Lordy.
I drink my beers before you drink your beers.
Yeah. Take your. I can't even say you're on.
We were literally sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings, and you were like, "Dude, you already finished?"
I'm talking about the spring game.
Oh well, yeah. I had to drive home, so I was trying to chill.
Oh my God! It was 4 o'clock. We were tailgating. Didn't leave till 12 o'clock.
I was trying to break a commitment. I don't know if you recall that. I had a commitment to break.
Thank you for being responsible, Dustin.
Exactly. I was sitting there giving Logan. I was like, Logan, we got 3 minutes, man. Put the beer down. He's coming in 3 minutes. Get the post ready.
I'm built for that. I can do 3 things at once. Let's see here. Let's jump into this next thing here. One last thing football-wise, which came out earlier today, is that Kelvin Benjamin, former Knoll, Carolina Panther, and also Chief, is getting a chance at the New York Giants minicamp this upcoming weekend. We had some time to spend with him and at Kenny Shaw's camp in Orlando, and he was telling us, and we put in our Discord if you guys were in there, some nuggets there on him, but he was intending on getting into some training, I think, with Kenny Shaw's guy. So he's been training for a few weeks now, trimming down, and he actually is going to be playing at tight end, is what he'll be practicing at and performing at the New York Giants camp with that position. So good luck to him.
Definitely. We saw him a couple weeks ago, and he looks pretty good, in decent shape. So excited to see if he can rebuild that career. Because, I mean, man, coming out of Florida State, I really thought he was going to be the next good wide receiver in the league that, came from Tallahassee, and that didn't all quite work out, but now he's got a second chance, and I'd really love to see him capitalize on it.
Absolutely, most certainly.
We got to get him on the podcast.
I know.
Luck. That's all I'm going to say.
Nate.
Good luck to him.
He's Nate's favorite player.
You could tell. Dang. Well, I can't wait to. We're got to get KB on. He said he's down to get on the pod.
Yeah, let's get him on, man. Be a good conversation.
He's the one that got you a national championship from catching that ball. I don't think you're out there on that field doing that.
I appreciate.
You had your pom poms.
You
had your pom poms. You had your boneless chicken nuggets. You're eating on your.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't catch that ball, did you?
I could have. Never know.
What? With those hands, those balloon finger hands, I don't know about that.
Man, this fucking guy.
Yeah, you keep on taking these weeks off the pod. I gotta keep you awake over here.
I have,
Your real job.
a real job right now. That's driving me insane.
All right, let's finish it off, Dustin, since I know Austin's over here courtside with Rihanna and Michael Jordan over there up there in Charlotte. Maybe he'll find a girl since he's got the clout now that he's on the court or whatever he's sitting.
Courtside?
I don't know. I hope man put him up in the nosebleeds.
Yeah. Section 330.
Yeah. That would be hilarious. But, yeah. Latest with basketball, D-Lou. MJ Walker. Finally, it took a little while, but, MJ Walker declares for the 2021 NBA draft.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really call it something that was unexpected. I know Austin had been talking with his source, and it kind of seemed like MJ was up in the air after how everything ended, and he really reconsidered coming back to Florida State. But, he's been in Tallahassee for 4 years, and there's only so much he can do at this point to continue boosting his draft stock. So I think it's the best choice for him to go ahead and test the professional waters. But, MJ finishes his Florida State career. He played in 120 games, 82 starts, and he averages 9 points, 1.6 assists, and 2 rebounds per game. Earlier this last season, he became the 49th player in school history to score over 1,000 points in Garnet and Gold. So, I mean, this is a guy, he had a really, maybe some people look at this past season and how it ended as disappointing for him. But all in all, he had a memorable career in Garnet and Gold. 2 Sweet 16 appearances, 1 Elite 8 appearance. They won the ACC championship last year the year before everything got shut down due to COVID. I mean, man, I think just looking back on MJ Walker and everything he did at Florida State, FSU fans should be proud, and I'm going to be rooting for him in the NBA.
Absolutely. Most certainly.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that represented FSU very well. That's just the continuation of what Leonard Hamilton produces out of that program. But, we're definitely pulling for him. And, I
think he's got a good shot to get drafted sometime in that second round. We'll just have to see. I'm not really sure how the NBA is doing things this time around, where if they're going to have a combine or pre-draft workouts or stuff. But those are little things that MJ could use to boost his draft stock and show NBA teams that he has a skill that will be useful at the next level.
So you've got, like we talked about, Scotty Barnes. You've got Raquan Gray leaving. You got Kopovica gone. MJ Walker, like we learned today. Sadar Calhoun, Nate Jack. The timeline today is, everybody's freaking out. Florida State, we're transitioning back to football now. Basketball's done. They had their run and whatever. Is that, you think that's a little just too much hoopla?
I think, you look at those losses that you'd like to get. Barnes, everyone knew was one and done.
Yeah.
Everyone knew that. I think Gray played himself into a decision this year. I think you would like to see him come back. Balsa, you would like to see him come back. But the other guys, maybe Sadar Calhoun, maybe a little bit, but, a lot of stuff that, Austin was talking about, it just wasn't a match for him in FSU and in the coaching staff. So, I mean, what they're doing on the recruiting front, if you can't sit here and think that they're done, the run, of a perennial Sweet Six. I'm not even say Sweet 16. I would say like a possible Elite Eight team. It's still there. The fact that the guys that they have coming in, you can't be upset with where the program's at right now.
Yeah, I mean this program is retooling. They're not rebuilding, in any way. Obviously Florida State, they got the Kentucky transfer a couple weeks ago, Cameron Fletcher.
And they get the point guard.
Yeah, they got the guy coming in from Houston, Caleb Mills.
That's going to play next year, and that's what we talked about a lot in this podcast. Sorry to cut you off, Dustin.
No, you're fine.
Is what does this team look like with a true point guard this past year?
Mm-hmm.
A Trent Forrest kind of player. So, I still think the sky's the limit for this program over the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I mean, there's still Jalen Worley, who's a 5-star, Matthew Cleveland, John Butler, another very highly ranked guy, Naheem McLeod. So you've got some talent coming in to kind of offset some of the guys you're losing. I mean, it's not going to totally mitigate those losses, but this is good young talent coming into Tallahassee to kind of start the next wave for Florida State. Normally, I think Austin said it before, either last week or a couple weeks ago, but normally Florida State isn't the type of program to lose 6 players in one offseason. They typically have a lot of continuity. So this is going to be a different challenge for this staff, but at the same time, they're showing that they're ready for it by bringing in this talent behind the guys that are departing.
I mean, not for nothing, everyone wants Florida State to be amongst the best in the country, and the best in the country for the last 10 years that have had to battle that, the one and dones, the two and done. So, is it a new world for FSU as a fan for basketball? Maybe. I don't know. But, that's what happens when you bring in top 25 players, that there's a shot for them to be one and done. And that's a risk you take.
Well, gentlemen.
And Florida State.
Oh, sorry.
Last thing, but Florida State, I believe they still have 1 or 2 scholarship spots remaining on this roster. And we know Trey Mitchell is a guy that the program is after, and I'm sure there's some other transfers that they're evaluating. So this roster isn't complete just yet. It's going to get a little bit better, I would say, but before things are done.
Gotcha. Guys, I think that's good. I think that's going to do it for the rest of the podcast. So y'all seeing that Jake Paul, or what do you got, Nate? You're a big boxing guy. I want to get your take on.
I hate boxing.
What?
I hate boxing.
I thought you watch UFC and all like that kind of stuff. Oh,
I love UFC.
Well, what do you think? What do you think?
Boxing is too fixed, man. I stopped watching boxing a long time ago. It's just too corrupt. But I think that whole
Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul.
That stupid. that is all about the money. All about, I mean,
100 million. It said Floyd. 100 million. He's getting paid. That is crazy.
That's the only reason.
I would do that. I would do it for $1,000.
Talk about Floyd Mayweather any way you want.
How much the surgery would cost afterwards.
I mean, I'll be surprised if Logan Paul gets 25 punches landed against Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, no, his defense is.
He may be
Pacquiao.
He may be the best defensive boxer. The way, I mean, that's his style is to, make you miss and counterpunch, whatever. But now I'm more. I like to see him fight a real UFC guy. The other brother, Ben Askren was a layup. I don't even know why. You have him in a boxing ring. You guys not a boxer; he's a wrestler.
Looked out of shape too. He just did it for the money. You could tell.
Oh, absolutely. He looked like he couldn't give a flying F. But yeah, man. I mean, you can't hate on a guy. Get you 15 minutes, get your money. It's great, but they're gonna run into reality here pretty soon, both of them.
Yeah, no, they will. Logan, I mean, he's getting his money too. He's getting his chance.
How much? Oh. How bad is it that people are going to be rooting for Floyd Mayweather here? People hate
People have given him so much hate, and now they're going to be on his side.
Yeah.
They see the take the hat thing.
Yeah, I think that was completely staged.
I don't know.
If it wasn't,
I
then
don't
Floyd
know.
is gonna absolutely destroy.
Oh, he's gonna knock.
Like,
It's gonna be a first round.
just because they look exactly the same, he's gonna be like, I want to murder this guy.
Yep.
I don't know. I'll just bring up some hot topics of the week.
Come on, man. Like, I don't know.
Well, you're supposed to have a boxing match, I thought, with a few FSU Twitter members, but
I would love to have that boxing match with TJ.
get it set up. We got to have sponsors.
I'm not going to sit here and start it up again, but that's ran its course. But that guy's just whatever, man.
Oh man, yeah, we better end it now.
Don't get me started, because then I'm gonna have to start cussing.
And then you'll start tweeting. You'll start tweeting. Yeah.
Yeah. I got the Twitter ready.
Yeah. He's got the Twitter fingers ready.
Logan's gonna get me fired up.
Yeah, I know it. That's always my fault. Dustin's the one I'm the one that tells what happens, and then Dustin's he amps it up. He's the cheerleader for it.
No, it was your fault last time.
No,
I just provide facts.
Dustin knows what he's doing, and he's creating. That's good marketing. It's good marketing. It's working for the Paul brothers. Look at him.
I know. Look at him, but
yeah, hey, whatever.
Yeah, one's about to get his ass beat. Great.
Oh man. Well, definitely appreciate Gabe hopping on here with us. I've been working on this for a while, but happy to have him on here. Glad he's doing well. Over there with the Chargers, he's got a bright future ahead. I'm excited to watch the Chargers this upcoming season, obviously with Derwin James too, and Asante Samuel Jr. Man, a lot of West Coast Knowles over there being successful, because he also got Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got to have a whole friggin' list. You got Cam Akers. You got Trey McKitty. There's just too many now. A lot going on. So definitely appreciate Gabe coming on here. Guys, I haven't been able to tell this on the pod yet, but we do have a number now. We have a texting service. I'm not even calling it a texting service, but it's actually where you're texting me, as you guys can see on here if you're on the live stream. Actually texting with you guys all throughout the day, or giving you updates and whatnot. All the nuggets still go to Discord, but I'm able to text up here with you guys. We got over 100 people in here now, 150 something. But if you text,
how come I'm not part of that?
You could text it. All you got to do is text 850-616-8661, and you'll be texting me personally. I don't know if I want you texting me another.
I'm not texting you. I couldn't care. Let's talk. I talk to you as much as least as I can.
Yeah, exactly. That's why.
As little as I possibly can.
That's why we don't market it to Nate. We market it to our wonderful listeners and viewers.
Yep.
But yeah, text us 850-616-8661. We're doing a pop socket giveaway right now. If you join and text that, we just give updates. You'll be texting me. You're not texting a robot. Any kind of crap like that. Nothing crazy. So that's all you got to do. That number 850-616-8661. Looking forward to chatting it up with you guys. We've been talking about the NFL draft, Asante Samuel Jr., all kinds of stuff, and Dalvin and Jameis. I've been sending in some Jameis videos to you guys, so been nice chatting.
Have you gotten any weird questions?
I haven't had any weird ones yet. I'm glad I haven't given the number to any of the Discord people, because I don't need them harassing me 24/7. But no weird questions yet. I'm looking forward to it, though. I can also send pictures, videos, voice messages. It's life-changing, Nate. It's life-changing stuff here, Nate.
And maybe I should use it, during a visit to IMG. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you could hop on the app. Nate could talk to you guys on the voice thing, or we do it exclusively only for Discord members, which if you guys haven't signed up for that, that's patreon.com/NoGameDay. We've been dropping a lot of nuggets. Also, it seems like Florida State found their next president. I'm not given the chance or the allowance to share who that is yet, but I would stay tuned to the Discord and should be able to get some clearance soon on giving that name away. But it seems like Florida State has finalized on their next president at Florida State University. But yeah, hope everybody has a great rest of y'all's weekend. You can listen to this on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify. Hit that subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button. Appreciate you guys. Everybody have a great rest of y'all's week, and we will see you guys next week on Hear the Spear.